This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into the Fast Break for episode 3 of the 2024-2025 preview season, or it's the whole episode is episode 3. It's really going to be like episode, 7, because we're cutting them into 3 episodes each. I'm going to ignore that. My name is Jake Neverman. I'm here with my wonderful co-host, wonderful co-host today, Ricky Widmer.
So it is going to be still episode 3. They're just split into 3 parts, so it's part A, B, and C.
I'm calling episode 3. And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
How we doing today, guys? Doing all right?
I'm doing okay. These are the 2. We're doing 2 in one day. This is the small forwards. I'm excited for these 2 because these 2 positions are like a brisket. It's juicy.
I'm uncomfortable.
I don't think you can top that, Dave. But today we'll be going through our small forwards.
Dave, you can't top that. Just ignores it.
As a disclaimer, as always, these starting lineups are our best guesstimates, our estimations as to what the starting lineups will be on opening night. So guys like Mitchell Robinson, guys like Kristaps Porzingis are not included. If you're wondering, we are recording this the week before, so Julius Randle trade actually happened. I called it the Julius Randle trade. The Carl Anthony Towns,
isn't he?
The player I like the most, I'll call it the Dante DiVincenzo trade because we love White Dante. Dante DiVincenzo, Julius Randle are headed to.
Technically, the trade hasn't gone through yet.
I'm just saying the sham wow popped on Saturday night. And so we're recording this a couple days later. Media day for most, if not all, the teams happened today, I believe. And also, we'll catch you off guard a little bit of sad news. Dikembe Mutombo did pass away today. I didn't know about that. Yeah, I didn't know. I wanted to ask because you guys are more of the, no offense, the older age group that would have seen the end of Dikembe Mutombo's career. Do either of you have an on the court Mutombo like memory or anything like that you guys remember?
Come on.
I'm asking.
From first off, Mutombo on the Hawks. Yeah. A little bit of Michael Jordan looking over at him, closed his eyes, shot a free throw. Then dunked on him too and gave him the finger after the dunk. Oh, no, I'm dunking on you.
It's just a tremendous human being. He's honestly known more for his off the court stuff than he was on the court.
Mm-hmm.
Only 50
humanitarian, as I believe they called that.
Yeah, he did work. Yeah, he did work in Congo. He did work in the Congo. He really helped build up the NBA's brand and basketball's brand in general in Africa and helped start all that. So rest in peace. Thought we should mention that as we start off because that did happen today as we were recording.
He was on those Sixer teams, right? The AI.
He was on the finals.
AI Sixer teams.
Yeah, he was on he was good too. He there was a playoff game. I can't remember who they were playing, but he had some fantastic playoff performances for the Sixers, even though he kind of gets the label of it was late in his career, but he still played, I think, 8 years.
That was old man Mutombo at that point.
Yeah, but he played until like 2007, I think it was, or 2006.
Mm-hmm. He stuck around,
He played,
Defense stuff.
Defense lives. Yeah, so Derek Lively's got like 20 more years.
He's easily.
But also, we didn't mention if you did listen through all of our rambling and all that, please hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button, and if you would like, hit that bell notification right next to the subscribe button because then you will know each and every time that we do post a video or go live because that'll eventually happen once we progress into the NBA season. And also down below, Patreon link is down there with the Discord link. The Patreons, you can watch this live as we are recording this on Monday, September 30th. You can watch this live, comment. Also, if you join the Discord down below, it's going to be a little bit late for rankings because we are recording our center rankings in 2 weeks. So you could get in on that and our team rankings. You could get in on both of those as Ricky pours himself a cherry. Was it a cherry Pepsi?
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper, you're right. Dr. Pepper.
Not sponsored, by the way, but Dr. Pepper, if you want to sponsor us. Barks, if you want to sponsor. Barks is man.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Without further ado, let's get to the 30 through 21 of our small forward list. I am going to start out on our cumulative list. We all did our own list. We brought together the point system to give us our cumulative rankings, and then any tiebreakers were decided by the Discord's rankings. So for this episode, shout out Soapy, shout out Sean, and shout out our boy Retro. They all completed their list, so we use theirs as the tiebreakers for this list. So let's get into it. At number 30, we have from, I almost said the Dallas Mavericks, the Charlotte Hornets, Josh Green. From the Cleveland Cavaliers at 29, Max Strus. At number 28, from the Detroit Pistons, we got Fontecchio. I love that name. What a name.
Great name.
27 from the Atlanta Hawks, we got DeAndre Hunter. 26 from the Indiana Pacers, we have Aaron Nesmith. 25 from the Houston Rockets, we have Dillon Brooks. 24 from the I said he threw me off. I was thinking the Houston again. The Brooklyn Nets, DFS, Dorian Finney-Smith. Number 23 from the San Antonio Spurs, Harrison Barnes. Number 22 from still the Washington Wizards, which is a little bit
surprising.
Surprising, I would say. Kyle Kuzma. And at number 21 from the Portland Trailblazers, Denny Avdia. So, Dave, before I ask you about any players, you got a little surprised look on your face when I read out some of the names. What are you surprised by on this list?
I guess I feel like somehow we're still disrespecting Dillon Brooks after last year. Like, I know that, like, he, had like a red hot start to the season and was shooting great. And then things kind of came back down to earth for the most part, but he's still one of the best defenders in the NBA on the wing. And yeah, he's a bit of a head, but like we understand and we love him when he's our head. So I just think, I'm sorry, I forgot already. I think that maybe I'm choosing to value his defense, his toughness, his ability to get under other players' skin, and kind of his role on that Rockets team. Doing that, I really value that a lot. So I think that I viewed him a little bit higher than you guys. That's the one that stood out the most to me because I was just like, look, he's kind of a proven guy, and like I get it. He got clowned down in the playoffs for like the series against Golden State. It's like, did you expect him to beat Golden State? No, it's not like him, making comments and whatever, getting under people's skin. Or was it Lakers? Either way, dude is just there to talk, stir the pot, and then play incredible defense, and he did it. Last year, he bit of a chucker start, but now they've got a lot of guys there getting shots up for, and I think he's a great team player. I think he's all in. So,
Ricky, anything that surprises you off this list, off this first chunk of the small forwards?
I mean, I just want to reply to that real quick.
Yeah.
Dead last. He's the worst small forward in the league. He's a meme. That's all he is. He's a meme.
Oh, this is the guy.
A straight meme,
You're
baby.
the reason?
He's literally a meme. That's all Dillon Brooks is. Well, he plays defense. He talks crap. No, he's a meme. That's all he is. I'd rather have anyone else out there than him.
There's like payback for years of talking about Draymond Green and how
I'd rather have Max Strus out there.
Okay, let's not disrespect Max Strus.
No, I like Max. The Strus is loose to Paul.
I will say this is a list that has
ILL,
a lot.
Baby.
This is a list that has a lot of depth. I like even when you look at guys that are in this bottom tier here, like Denny Avdia, I was higher than most of you guys. I think I was the highest on him in this list. I think he's such a quality player. I don't want to, but like, I think like there's only a couple guys in this list that I would be like they aren't really starting quality players anymore. But yeah, I would almost concur with you on Dillon Brooks. I was looking at my list. I probably had him 2 or 3 slots lower than I should have. I probably should have had him a couple higher. We'll get into some guys in the next list that I think should not be there at all. But I think Dillon Brooks is good. I think the Houston Rockets, I think we talked a little bit about them last time. They're just a little bit of a confusing product at this moment because you don't know still who are their guys. And they have this mixture of young guys who have incredible upside. But then at the same time, you have these veterans, like you look at Fred VanVleet, you look at Dillon Brooks, who can impact
Steven Adams.
Yeah, Steven Adams now too. Impact winning now. But what is their ceiling, I guess, and what are the roles that they're going to play? Are they going to stunt the development more of their bucket load of wings?
Please no more Jeff Green minutes.
Did this Unk to Unk? You mean Unk? That's what they were calling him by the end of the team. Yeah, so I don't know. I think I probably could have him a little bit higher, but I do probably think he still needs to end up in this 21 through 30 list if it were up to me.
Sure. Ricky, anything for you that jumped out?
In this list?
On the 21 through 30 section, because like there's one name that I'm just whatever about.
Well, there's one name that I don't want to say jumped out, but am I just too low on this guy's team? And like looking at the other rankings, I guess maybe not because Dave had him in the same way, but like Fontecchio, I had him right above Dillon Brooks. Like he's 29. That's nothing against him. It's just like he was good. Like not like great, but he was good for the Jazz. But like going over to the Pistons, how good is he gonna be on the Pistons? People,
I mean,
like we used to joke that like what was it? Oh, who was the team? The black hole of offense. Or was that a player? There was a
No, that was
team
a
I
player.
thought that was like the black hole that like you go there and you're just bad. That's the Pistons. That's where careers go to die. It's the Shadowlands.
Who was that? Who was the black hole offense?
The black hole of offense.
I believe it was. Well, I know we used to call Terrence Ross
The supernova
It was
offense, but there was a black
supernova
hole of
offense.
offense.
There was a black hole of offense. I don't remember who it was. I mean,
Who
yeah,
would you pass the ball to? He would never shoot, or he'd never not shoot.
Never pass it back.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
players that do that.
Does describe
That
G.G.
might have been,
Jackson pretty
to be honest with you, that might be early career Malik Monk. I might be early career Malik
No,
Monk.
he was the moist one.
He was
Yeah,
always.
oh,
the
you're right.
moist
He was the
one,
moist one. I'll be honest with you, and I think Fontecchio is too low.
Okay.
I think Fontecchio is a tremendous wing that I was interested in being on the Sixers because he gives you a lot of like. I think he's better than DeAndre Hunter. I think he's better than Aaron Nesmith.
Contact
and I think
helps with that.
I think no, I'm ignoring the contract right now.
Nesmith, really?
But you know who I think he's way better than that I think we need to touch on too?
Mhm.
There is no world where Harrison Barnes should be 23. He was atrocious.
Yeah,
the last year.
he probably is riding on his name brand more so than his
A
play the
million
last
percent.
season. Yeah,
A million
I'll admit
percent.
to that. That's not a.
I
can
will
admit
I will be honest with you. I'll give you my bottom 5 was Josh Green, Max Strus, DeAndre Hunter, Harrison Barnes, and Fontecchio. Now Fontecchio I think is clear above the other 4. I think I think Strus and Josh Green are good players. I just don't know how reliable I'd be willing to rely on them as starters. You know what I mean? Like Strus is good because he plays in that lineup where he has no ball handling responsibility and his defensive responsibility is minimal. Like,
He's a role player.
Yeah, but
Well-
all these guys are really, but like they just Cleveland needed somebody that isn't Isaac Okoro to go out there.
I was gonna bring that
not
up,
be
yeah.
a negative. You know what I mean? Like, can you make open threes? Yes. Can you at least move on defense? Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
you're gonna start.
They
I
can
mean, it's
make
all
that
it was.
work, Yeah.
I guess the Fontecchio thing is, I think it is because he's a Piston that people are going to underrate him. We'll talk about another Piston in the power forward that's always overrated. But
Guys trying to get me in trouble with the Pistons already. I'm not buying in. I mean, I'm not going to start the conversation.
I
early.
wasn't even
don't-
going at it because of that. I'm just like,
No.
he's the one that I'm like, am I just low on the Pistons? So therefore, by like, what is it, the associative property?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
therefore, he is low because the Pistons are low.
No, because I think we looked at Cade Cunningham. We had Cade Cunningham extremely high because we all believe in him as a player, even if he is a Piston. I think Fontecchio, if he was on a contender team, would be one of those guys.
Or still on the Jazz.
My mind's blanking right now. Like, who got traded? Like, not to this degree. Let me stress that to the maximum.
Oh, you know that doesn't mean anything with you saying that?
As soon as OG Anunoby went from the Raptors to the Knicks, he became top 3 defensive wing in the NBA. He's mini Kawhi Leonard. No, and also he was the same player that he was in Toronto, but he was on the New York Knicks in a bigger market and affecting a winning team. So they're like, wow, he's amazing. I'm not saying
that's
yes,
fair,
exactly. Fontecchio is not that. Let me just stress that he's not OG Anunoby. We'll talk about OG later.
Yeah,
but Fontecchio is a guy who I could see playing big minutes for a playoff team in the first, second, third round, and he would not look out of place.
Okay.
As a wing role player, let me say that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he falls in that uber similar category to me of like Dorian Finney-Smith. Like he is basically a cheaper version of DFS. I think maybe a better shooter right now, which is nice. But Dorian's played like off ball from some of the best players in the NBA, and I don't know that Fontecchio will have that opportunity anytime soon. So we'll have to see what he can do when it comes to like playing playoff minutes and what he looks like during those minutes. Because you're projecting out and like I like the idea of him. Yeah, he's a solid wing, but like I don't know that he jumps out compared to basically what a baseline 3-and-D player would be in the playoffs, like a low usage kind of guy.
But
your Tobias Harris's of the world.
Well, Tobias Harris neither makes 3 or plays defense.
How many $1 million did he get? For that,
we'll talk about him next episode. Relax.
Sorry, had to.
DFS, I have DFS above Fontecchio, but the one thing Fontecchio can do better than DFS is he actually can dribble the ball and move. DFS is a strictly catch and shoot guy. He doesn't have something. I'm looking for a dribble handoff. I'm looking to swing the ball back, entry pass, something like that. Fontecchio actually could put the ball on the floor, and we saw that more in Detroit because they were so desperate
But should we see that is my point. Like, it's great that he has the ability to, but like, if you're at the situation where you need Fontecchio to put the ball on the floor, that's probably already lost.
That's the Pistons, all right. But I'm saying he has the ability to do it.
Okay,
which is something that DFS does not.
And again, we've only seen him for basically with this one season. He did come over, as an older player, so like I'm excited to see what he can do in the NBA. But like it's very much like we'll see. He's basically going to gain the starting role because of spacing. We can all be honest about that for the Pistons. Like there's a lot of young guys in the Pistons who probably would be like Ron Holland should be starting at the 3 for them. Ron Holland shoots like 20% from 3, so they can't put out Ron Holland next to Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. Like that's just a bad idea right now. You definitely can't put Asar Thompson shooting 12% from 3. Like they've got some limitations up there in Detroit, and I'm not trying to pick on you all the time, Detroit, but Fontecchio seems to be the plug and play kind of guy that you want on that roster moving forward. So I'm happy for you. Yeah. He's not, just because we rate him lowly, he's still a pretty good player. Still pretty happy with him.
Yeah, shoot it back to you, Dave. You actually have Kyle Kuzma up at 16 on your list.
That's the guy I'm like, he's I think we can all acknowledge, like, he got squeezed to the small forward because of Alex Sarr.
Yeah, hold on, Ricky's.
No, he's acknowledged, so I'm acknowledging.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right.
Good call.
That's something we got to do. Whenever someone says acknowledge, we do this.
I just want to, for context, Ricky has Kuzma at 25. Mm-hmm. I have Kuzma at 21.
So y'all smoking.
Also, by the way,
one is 5 spots off. It's not that far.
I do get to cut in here. I do want to say greetings and salutations to you, John. He commented on our Patreon post.
Oh, sweet.
Live recording.
Love that.
And salutations.
I do
John.
love that.
J-Dub.
Always respect.
J-Dub, stick around for the Power Forward episode when we get to talk about Tobias Harris. You'll love it.
Oh my God.
Kuzma.
Yeah, just because he doesn't play for a team that actually wants to win basketball games, I just think that he's incredibly underrated because he's just putting up insane numbers on like a dog team. And I do think that he can get ball hungry because he is playing on that team that basically last year shifted things around so much that it was him and Denny down the stretch, and you got really good performances out of both of them. So I don't know. I think Kuzma is probably being slept on from a talent standpoint. He's got all the pieces. He can bounce and I'm trying to find a nice way to say look, he's Wish brand Jason Tatum. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
remember they got drafted and it was Tatum and Kuzma?
That's why. Yeah. That's why I was there was always the comparison. They're always stuck together because of that rookie year, matchup between the two of them. Yeah. Who's better because they're putting up different stats, different teams. But I think that he has a ton of talent. I just think he's on a team that stinks, and I don't know why we haven't seen a team try to go get him, because he's seemingly cool with just staying there in Washington, which nobody else has really been thrilled about. So to me, it's weird. And that's the guy I was like, I wonder if Memphis is looking to do something.
Is he okay with being there because expectations are low? So he doesn't have any pressure on him?
He literally played with the Lakers for a ring.
Yeah, but it's more is it like a, hey, you know what? I got my ring. I don't got a ring chase. I can just stay here, low pressure. I can just ball out and hoop.
I don't know. It might be a him thing, but I just think that he's someone who has a ton of value in my mind. Mm-hmm. And he has basically fallen completely off the radar because he just plays on a team that doesn't matter as soon as December hits.
Yeah, I think probably the only
gaudy stats. Yeah, maybe that's all it is to me. But he's got tools and he can bang in the paint, and he can be a really good, strong player. So
I think the only issue is that you're facing now is he makes $20 million a year for this season and 2 more. And with the new, I know, but with the new tax bill and the new aprons and all that, a team has to have that space to go and get him and be able to fulfill. Because I bet you his numbers are good enough, the Wizards are going to have a semi-high price to trade for him. You know what I mean?
That's probably
it's kind of the problem you see with Levine too, right? Levine could obviously help somebody out. We'll talk about him later in this episode, but if you have that kind of a gaudy contract, which Kuzma, $20 million is not gaudy, but when you're looking at the role,
a very realistic one.
Yeah, it's 21, 20, 19, I think, for the next 3 years.
So you got descending contract offer here. I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to sell this man out of town, but I want to see him play meaningful basketball again, and I think that this ranking is purely him being on the Washington Wizards rather than.
But it's the same thing that I just said with Fontecchio.
Yeah.
Like if they go to a better team, they rise. That's just how it is, to be honest with you. Like if you look at the other rankings, right? Like there's so many guys that are probably more talented than the people above them, but they're lower because of their situation. Yeah, I think, like I stated before, there's some guys that I have Kuzma above in my rankings that somehow made it higher in our rankings and our combined, and I see the culprit now. So we will get to that when we get to that. But I think Kuzma, I had Kuzma at 21. I could see him anywhere from like 18 to 21. So I could see him like you had him up at 16. My question is, Ricky, I'll go to you with this.
Go ahead.
We have DeAndre Hunter in here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that he's going to be starting by the end of the year? Is my question. Or do you think that Richardson is going to take over his starting job?
I could see Worcestershire sauce taking over the starting role, but it's just like, so I had Hunter in the bottom 5.
Yeah.
Like how you said your bottom 5, my bottom 5 was going from bottom top. Dylan Brooks, Fontecchio, Josh Green, Max Strus, Hunter. And it's just like, I don't think it's a factor of will he be starting, won't he be starting. I just think it's depending. Like, you look at all the other small forwards in the league. It's kind of like what we said about Strus, but maybe you've kind of sold me that Strus should be higher than Hunter. That's where I'm thinking what my rankings should have changed, because he fits a role on the Hawks, but he's not the reason the Hawks move.
Yeah. And
to be higher on the list, the team has to move. Like, you have to be the reason the team moves, if that makes sense.
Well, you had Harrison Barnes above all of them, and
yeah. We're going off of vibes. He's on the Spurs. Yeah. Spurs full team basketball, baby. He gonna be involved. Papa's gonna get the most out of him.
I was gonna say, I think Harrison Barnes is the reason their team stops.
So yeah, but when you've got the best coach in the league, well, second best coach in the league.
Yeah, but I mean, with Hunter though, I just look at Hunter and I'm like, this guy peaked so early in his career, and we just watch him get hurt year after year after year after year now. Yeah. And I'm just like, cool. So this is who you are. They gave you the money, and that you're still the same guy. And there's no getting better, really. I've not seen. And again, certain aspects of his game might have gotten slightly improved, but like I think for the most part, people are just kind of disappointed with the fact
he was out of Virginia, no?
I could see it.
Right?
Yeah,
he was on that Virginia championship team?
I don't know. Yeah, I believe he was actually.
The one with Cal guy?
He definitely was Virginia, though, yes.
Yeah, he was Virginia. But yeah, it just feels like he's not been able to take that step forward, whether it's part of his health, whether it's part of, the system and the way that the Hawks utilize him. Yeah. I don't know. I lean health is a problem, but like if you're not out on the court consistently, it's hard to carve out, your own space to play with. So I think that he's gonna lose his spot. He's been on the block for a year already. So they're trying to move him. I don't know who wants him. They've been trying to move Clint Capella too. Guess what? Wow. Same problem. But yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like the Hawks are stuck in the
championship team, by the way.
Nice. The Hawks are stuck in that no man's land after they move on from DeJounte Murray. They're like, cool, Trae Young's our dude. We're going to build around him. Again, reset. Still got time. And I just feel like DeAndre Hunter is like, we handed out some cash to a guy too early. And unfortunate, They're just stuck with him at the moment. I would lean towards Richardson being a plug-and-play kind of guy on this team.
Yeah, it's been interesting because we harped on it last episode. I don't want to do it again, but the amount of people the Hawks have had that have fallen off over the last couple of years, especially since their 2021 run, is just interesting. Dave, I'll throw it back to you. Another guy who might not be starting by the end of the year, Aaron Nesmith. Do you think that Jarris Walker might overtake that spot?
Okay,
or Benedict Mathurin?
We both love Jarris Walker. So that's
I just want to say that Rick Carlisle said today. Rick Carlisle said today he sees Jarris Walker as a 3 in their system. Just so
they like the jumbo 3. He came into the NBA with that skill set of being a little bit of a ball handler, a little bit of a facilitator. Seemed like a smart guy with the ball in his hands sometimes. I remember watching the film with you actually from him in college. Yeah. So good times in the past. I think that Nesmith, very much like how we talked about Nembhard at the 2, Nesmith at the 3 was a sign of success in the playoffs. It was called, this is the lineup that worked for us really well. He was an absolute dog out there on defense. He was going at everybody. He was covering so much ground, and he was nailing his shots. Like, that's everything you ask for out of a wing player. He doesn't have, the ideal size that you would want out of a 3 maybe, but he is a really good role player. If they see that there's upside to go for a big swing kind of guy and he's more of a plug and play, I could see him falling to the bench, and like spot lineup usage probably is the best way to get time out of him, because if you're overly reliant on Halliburton and Pascal Siakam to generate all that offense, you have that option of like, hey, we can switch it up and put a Benedict Mathurin in there who can go get his own shots, who can go get to the line, who can change the way that defenses have to play on the court because he's out there. If Aaron Nesmith's out there, people aren't defending him the same way that they have to defend a Ben Mathurin. So, like, I think it's very much a gift of their depth right now in Indianapolis. And here's the thing. At the end of the year, he might not be a starter. But if we're 2 games into a playoff series, he might be a starter again. Like, that's the Rick Carlisle thing that I love, is like, Rick will just roll with the guys who actually succeed on the floor. Like, he's not afraid to just switch up lineups until you get one that works, and then he'll roll with them if that works for that game, or that series, I should say.
Yeah, I find it interesting, Ricky. I'll throw it to you.
Yep.
The Knicks have now gone with Cat, so now they can go double big, and Cat and Mitchell Robinson down low. The Sixers obviously can go big. Say they put Yabusele and whatever. Like, they can go big at the end, or they can go with
They go wide.
Wide, yes, not big, wide. You have the Celtics, who, if Porzingis is healthy, you go with Horford and Porzingis. My question is, if they face a team like that in the playoffs again, because when they played the Celtics, obviously Porzingis wasn't healthy. Do you think that Jarris Walker maybe slotting in would help them accommodate with the size and be able to switch 3 through 5 basically? Or do you think, like where Dave said, they just roll with what worked last year? Because I always like to say, don't get caught in the moment, because Nembhard and Nesmith were so great, but that can go away, like we see with the Hawks, so quickly when you get into the next season.
I'm going to kind of relate it. You kind of said it, and I'm going to say it in a different way. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Like, if it worked one time, don't, unless it's like catastrophically, like, okay, we need to make a change. But like, also it's like, and I'm going to steal something from John here, because John's commenting on the Patreon page, J-Dub, and he says, maturing is a part of Pacers' core moving forward. And it's like, I don't know if Walker, if I trust him yet. And I don't know if that's a me thing. I don't know if you guys would trust, but it's like the younger players, it's like sometimes, like, I don't know if I trust you in that moment yet, young blood.
Did you mean Mathurin or maturing?
I probably meant Mathurin.
Okay, just double checking. I was like, they do need to mature. They are an extremely young team.
That was actually a really good point.
That's why I was like,
that was actually a really good point. You should have just stuck.
That was John saying the maturing part. I was taking that.
Yeah, Benedict Mathurin could come in.
But the thing with Walker is still true. Like some of the young players, like, do I trust you in that moment? Like, pick and play any of them. It's like there's very few that I'm going to be like, yes, biggest moment of our season, I'm going to put you in it.
I was going to say, I think a lot though is overstated about like being ready. It's a sink or swim league, right?
Yep.
Nembhard had never been in those situations. Absolutely killed it as soon as he got into them. Nesmith had never really gotten the shot to be in that situation in Boston. Goes to Indy, they trust him. Boom, does great. Halliburton had never been in those situations before. Absolutely came to it like easily. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't buy into the whole like. I hate bringing. It's
just how much trust you have in a guy. So it comes down to.
But I don't. Okay, and this is the new head versus the old head thing. The old head is that you don't trust young guys, blah blah blah. But Rick Carlisle doesn't seem to have that problem. He is one of my favorite coaches in the league. And I've said this for years, especially when Dallas let him go. Him and Nick Nurse are kind of similar in this. They will just adapt, and whatever they can figure out that works, they'll roll with it. They're not like the old school of Doc Rivers, those kind of coaches where this is the way you play winning basketball. This is the no. If they throw out a random lineup, if it worked that Tyrese Halliburton and 4 centers worked, Rick Carlisle would throw 4 centers out on the court.
100%,
no shame. So yeah,
I mean, we saw basically 4 guards and Siakam out there was the lineup that we had seen because there was a little Timothy John action out there, and it was like, okay, so the Pacers are basically like 5 guys who are 6'3" or under. That's an option. But like they just have that ability and that depth and that trust from their coach. You're right. He is one of the best basketball minds when it comes to offensive basketball. I'm gonna hard stop myself there because the Pacers' game plan has been and will continue to be, we'll just score more points than everyone else. And you know what? When life's simple, sometimes you don't gotta overthink it.
J-Dub also says Walker's best use is to defend jumbo wings.
Yeah.
He also has crazy ball handling for a guy that's that big, but Sorry. The last guy I want to talk about was Denny Avdia. Dave, I know you love Denny.
I do.
So I want to ask you, because we kind of had this discussion whenever the trade happened.
Yep.
How much, I guess the question is, how much of a steal value wise do you think he could end up being for Portland in now this season, but also down the road in the future?
So much of his value is going to come down to how they can churn their roster, because I'm actually afraid what we saw out of him at the end of last year was like we put the ball in Denny's hands and we let Denny do like things that he hadn't been able to do consistently throughout his career. And now we're putting him on a team where we have Scoot, we have Anthony, and we have Shaden Sharp. And I'm a little concerned at how much time he's actually going to have to actually work with the ball. I don't know. I gotta stop saying the word actually. But I have concerns.
Saying
I
it
have
so much it's
that,
becoming a sound.
yeah. I have concerns for how they're going to utilize him, what his actual role will be. It happened again. What his, my brain's ruined.
Oh, man.
No.
Segment one.
The problem is when it comes to that team, like Jeremy Grant still exists. They haven't traded him yet. We'll see if he gets moved. But that's one guy who needs to get fed. DeAndre Ayton, God knows what's going to happen with him. But like, it just feels like they have a bunch of guards who need the ball in their hand. Scoot can't play off ball. We know that. It's part of his game. He has to grow. I look forward to seeing him grow, continue off where he left off on the high note last year. But when you got three guys who are primary ball handlers and you bring in Denny, who is like a jumbo wing ball handler who can make smart decisions and is a hell of a defender, great. I don't know. I love him still, but I'm a little concerned for his future on the Portland Trailblazers until they maybe pick a vision for how their offense is going to work instead of just like roll the ball out there and see how it works, because that's how their coach is doing it right now.
Yeah,
I need a coach, I need a system, and then I can give you a future for him. But until then, I think this might be a notch back here.
Yeah,
I'm afraid.
I'd have to agree. As soon as they kept Chauncey, we talked about how disappointing it was and how sad it is that they're giving him another year.
Is there anything that happens that gets him fired? Because I only ask because we're not doing coaching rankings.
Nope. They clearly want to be bad again. They clearly want to tank for it. They want to capture
Ace
the flag.
Bailey or Cooper, yeah.
They're trying to play the capture the flag game. We'll see if they can
capture the flag, baby.
Yeah,
Bulls are going to do. Let's cap that flag, baby.
Jeez. So for 21 through 30, we basically discussed everybody. Ricky, any final thoughts? Anybody you didn't talk about enough that you want to touch on before we move on?
Not really.
All good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Dave, you all good?
I'm Gucci.
Josh Green just exists.
That's why I wasn't even. Yeah, he was.
I don't even want to like. He
exists.
Are we all thinking that like he's not going to be their starter by some point? Because you asked about like a couple other guys, and I'm like, good. Josh Green just kind of seems like just another guy at the moment. Like we always try to keep hyping him up down there in Dallas, but he just never could be anything. So.
Yeah. We didn't touch much on DFS because I assume we'll be talking about him later in the year because he's probably going to get traded. So at some point we'll be having a long-term DFS.
We've been trying to trade him for 3 years now.
Yeah, we'll see if they get their first round pick that they've been waiting for. But with that, we'll move on to the 11 through 20. We do have some ties in this one. So again, shout out our patrons and our MVP member in Soapy, Sean Retro. We appreciate your list. We did use you guys as the tiebreakers. So at number 20, we have from the Golden State Warriors, Andrew Wiggins. At 19, we have from the Memphis Grizzlies at the moment, Marcus Smart. At number 18, from the Oklahoma City Thunder, we have Lou Dort. Is this full name like Lugans? It's like
Lugans Dort.
Lugans. Such a sick name. At number 17, we have from the Minnesota Timberwolves, Jaden McDaniels. At 16, from the Dallas Mavericks, we have Klay Thompson. And at 15, from the Chicago Bulls, we have Zach LaVine. At 14, from the Milwaukee Bucks, we have
What
Chris
is
Middleton.
wrong with you guys? Chris.
At number 13, from the Sacramento Kings, pure vibe offense, DeMar DeRozan. At number 12, from the New Orleans Pelicans, for now, Brandon Ingram. And at number 11, an absolute disgrace that he's not in the top 10, from the Orlando Magic, Franz Wagner. Dave, I'm not going to throw it to you first. I'm going to throw it to Ricky first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ricky. You had let me just double check your list.
Mm-hmm.
At 12, you had Andrew Wiggins. So he jumped off. He's up at 20 in our list. He was down near the bottom of my list. So you have him at 12. What are your thoughts? Like, what's your outlook on Andrew Wiggins? I assume you expect him to have a bounce back year after last year.
Hey, like pure vibes, and one bad year doesn't mean that you're the worst. You still know how to play. Does he still? Last time I checked, is he still on one of the most talented teams in the league?
No,
he in fact is not.
No, he's not. But he should have a bounce. Like I don't want to give up on Wig Dog yet, man. I don't want to give up on him yet. I think he'll bounce back this year, man. I like Andrew Wiggins. The thing I'm wondering is I want to know Dave's reaction when you said Chris Middleton's name. He went, really?
Okay. Well, we'll come back to Andrew Wiggins. I'm gonna let you. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna let you two comment. I'm gonna sit back during the segment.
No. I want to finish Andrew Wiggins. I
thought we were.
Look, no. I get it. It took me a minute to process. I put my head down and everything. I was like, I don't understand what we're doing right now, kind of thing with Andrew Wiggins. I'm like, we're talking about the same Andrew Wiggins who
so
just
your reaction was to Wiggins, not to.
Oh, I reacted to
no, the other player.
There was multiple reactions.
Okay.
No, Wiggins had a rough year last year. I believe his father was ill, and then his father did pass. So like, I get it. That's extremely tough to go through. The fact that Golden State was like, nah, not your problem. You don't have to worry about like any level of communication. And it felt like it built this bubble of like weird media animosity against Andrew Wiggins throughout the year. And then like when he came back, he clearly wasn't right. So, I mean, there is hope that he'll go back to being that like finals MVP run Andrew Wiggins, where he's like, oh wow, rebounding's easy. You just have to try hard. Like that was one of the dumbest quotes I've ever heard in my life, and I just love him for it. There's a lot of consistency to Andrew Wiggins' game. Like you need 18 points, well, you're getting 16. You need 14 points, well, you got 16. So like that was Andrew Wiggins. He was that kind of guy in the NBA for years.
Can I say it's the famous Tobias Harris quote? You have all your starters. He's going to give you 14 points. All of your starters are out. He has the ball. He's going to give you 14 points.
Yeah, it turns out he'll give you less now.
I'll give you 0. That was
went down. Yeah,
0 in elimination.
No, I mean I swear Wiggins was the same way. He was just incredibly consistent for Golden State for years. So I think that if he's able to get past everything that happened to him off the court last year, then yeah, there's a chance he could return to the guy he needs to be, and especially on a team that kind of needs him to step up because Steve Kerr hates kids, so he's gonna have an opportunity.
Not there to soak up minutes.
Yeah, so like he'll have an opportunity to have a bigger role in this offense again. It's just what kind of shape is he coming into the season with? So God knows at that point, but like hopefully it's good. I like the hope for positivity out of Ricky. I don't share the same whatever about it, but like I hope for him.
As Spider-Man always said, everyone gets one. You get one bad year, 2 bad years. All right,
you're gonna say like parent who dies, but.
No. That's why he pulled his mask off to the kid in the animated series.
This is my main event of the evening. All our segments. I'm gonna like. So just for reference, Ricky and I both have Zach LaVine at 17.
Yeah.
Dave has Zach LaVine at 10. Yes, because this one over here is like.
I'm at a loss.
I'm going to sit back during this one. I'm going to let the two resident Bulls fans above me, Zach LaVine, Dave, commence.
How could you put him at 17? Was that?
Because he sucks.
Yeah, we both have him at 17.
But he doesn't. He's hurt.
A step pattern.
But he doesn't suck.
Lazy.
How is it?
Not a team leader. There are also about what? Where did I have about 16 other small
Klay
forwards?
Thompson's lazy. Klay Thompson's not a team leader.
Klay Thompson can also shoot the 3 ball, which I value more.
So can Zach LaVine.
Not like Klay Thompson.
Zach LaVine was one of the best.
Klay Thompson also plays more defense than Zach LaVine.
Well,
he's not lazy on defense like Zach LaVine.
He's kind of
my real statement point, Dave.
Here's the problem.
You're looking at the wrong name if you're looking at my statement point. My statement point is look where I had DeMar DeRozan.
I don't know.
That's the statement point. I had DeMar DeRozan at 13. I had him well above Zach LaVine. We got rid of the wrong player, Dave.
I disagree.
We got rid of the wrong player. DeMar was who we should have kept if we're looking to tank. Not Zach LaVine.
Oh, if we're looking, so wait. So you just admit it. If we're looking to tank, we should have kept DeMar DeRozan, and yet you put him higher.
He's gonna play great against the bad teams like Charlotte. We're gonna blow out Charlotte. Oh man, last second shot, and then get blown out by the Bucks. Zach LaVine can't show up against good
literally
teams.
The team that Zach LaVine murdered on his own.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's gonna show up against Charlotte, but not against the Bucks. Not against the teams we need him to. I'd rather have Kobe White than Zach LaVine. That's saying something.
Jesus Christ.
That is saying something if you know me.
Look, he's an incredibly efficient scorer. He's still a very good basketball player. And if he wants to try, he can be a good defender. Now, has he been given a reason to try in the last 3 years? No.
That's a problem.
Yeah. What do you want him to try for? I get it. He's an incredibly toxic human being.
Player.
I'm not arguing that. That is he is not good for your locker room. He is there is a cancer among him. But like, I just think that like if we're talking basketball players on this list, I think the fact that Chris Middleton somehow is one spot above him on this combined list, and that makes me ill, like physically ill, to know that a man with no lower body.
Would you rather have?
He has no lower body. Chris Middleton has had. Do you know the amount of surgeries he makes Zach LaVine look healthy?
Zach LaVine's also very injured too.
That's my point, and he makes Zach look healthy.
Yeah, but when he's on the court, Dave, he's a lot better of a player.
Chris Middleton was fantastic in playoffs last year. Just want to put that in.
Chris Middleton. Yeah, years ago.
Listen.
Look.
Let me just use Dave's own words against him because I looked this Discord message up prior.
Of course you did.
It was about Zach LaVine, and it was about the quote of LaVine telling "Don't tell my coach that I can play defense."
Yep.
When he was in the Olympics.
You also said it's a problem that Zach LaVine is talented, but doesn't want to play defense, doesn't want to rebound, and has an insanely low basketball IQ.
Yeah,
those are your exact words.
Those are your exact
words.
And even with all that said, I still think he should be rated higher in this list. Because he has that much basketball talent.
I think he definitely should be up Klay Thompson. I'm gonna be honest with you though. Let me double check my list so I don't contradict myself here. Yeah. I don't think he should be above Jaden McDaniels. I think like when you're absolutely elite defensively, like Jaden McDaniels is, right? Like he's top echelon A+ defensively, guarding wings, bigs, guard, really whatever you want.
Not brick walls.
That's true.
He took the L that day, and that playoff series.
To be honest with you, if you're a high-end defensive player, you're going to take the L eventually, though. Or if you're like Zach LaVine, you're just going to take the L continuously in your career because your ego.
You don't have a playoff series to have a
L. Because your ego is so high that you take away from the rest of your players. Your team.
What Jaden McDaniels is off, or defensively, Zach LaVine is offensively. I think they're equally high. I think 3 years ago, Zach LaVine was in the top three shooting guard debate solidly. It was Donovan Mitchell, Zach LaVine, and Devin Booker were like the three that we always talked about in that grouping. They've clearly separated themselves from him. No argument here. But the fact that he was there, and since then, obviously, injury, bounce back, but he's not been on a team that can win anything, and that's the problem, is we always look at him and go, yeah, it's empty. It's just always empty with him. And that maybe has built up, that reinforced negative attitude around him and his feelings towards the organization, his feeling towards his teammates.
It's all good now.
Yeah, it's all good now. I just sweep that under the rug and we'll just pray. But I think that people forget how good Zach LaVine is, because he can be like a 28 a game scorer again on 60-something% true shooting. He was that crazy good.
At one point, yes.
I think he's still the same guy.
But my problem is with Zach LaVine is it's a lot of ifs right now. And also I was big on Zach LaVine at one point, but and not to throw it back so far that it's past
I'm quoting back 3 years ago.
Statute of limitations.
Yeah, the statute of limitations haven't passed. But when Lonzo went down for this team,
yep,
DeMar DeRozan stepped his ass up. DeMar DeRozan was the one carrying this team at some point.
Which player?
Where was Zach LaVine? The one who makes more money, whose knees are decrepit, doesn't play defense, doesn't rebound, but is an elite offensive player when he wants to be.
I mean, that year was 2020, 2021,
Yes,
right?
but I don't quote the stats.
So
Watch the
Zach
game,
put up
Dave.
27,
Yep.
5 and 5
Correct.
on 50,
As
41,
correct.
85 shooting splits.
While being a traffic cone defensively.
Probably. Solid probably there.
Not probably. He was. And I'm not talking about the stats because Zach LaVine, I didn't say he's a bad scorer. Never
On a
once.
63% for shooting. That's I'm telling you, the
words,
elite of the elite as far as scorers go.
But the words never, not a good scorer, never left my mouth. What I told you is everything off the court mixed with on the court where he doesn't try.
Yeah.
He literally doesn't try.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's why he has to be low. And now he's coming off more surgeries.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he literally took a surgery to not go to Detroit. I respect that.
That's respectable, honestly.
Yeah,
honestly.
right? Can anyone argue with that? Do you want to go to Detroit or would you rather have surgery? I will take the surgery.
I will take the surgery. I'm not disagreeing with you there. That's honestly a plus move.
Thank you.
But it's just
got some business sense.
There's always been, like, the last 2 to 3 years, there's been something that's just rubbed me the wrong way about Zach LaVine.
He's not a great person.
No, he is probably a great person. I don't want to like personal attack, but it's his demeanor within the facilities in the team and the roster. And last year when he's out, we saw Kobe White absolutely finally do what he was supposed to do for the last 2 years because he got full ball handling duty. Now, do I think that Zach LaVine's going to come in there and stand in the corner and play defense and hit threes? Absolutely not. So what do I think he's going to do? He's going to hinder the development of other players on his team, while not helping his team win games. But what he's going to do is he's going to put stats up so people like Dave can come here and sit and tell me that he's such this great player because he scores efficiently, his box scores look gaudy, but then it turns into absolutely all. Sorry, Ricky, that's my first one. It turns into absolutely nothing.
I think of a team that had a great coach actually traded for him, he would perform if there were expectations, and that's the thing with him. Like, if he went to, we kept joking about the Golden State deal with like him and Caruso. Like, if that had actually came through, do I think Steve Kerr would have gotten that man to play defense for like 30 minutes a night? Absolutely. Like, I think there are certain situations where if he goes there, we could get the best Zach LaVine, and what we're watching right now isn't that. And I will openly admit that.
That I agree with, because that's what we talked about earlier in the last segment. If you didn't check it out, the 21 through 30 list. We talked about if guys go to different environments, their weaknesses in their games can be enhanced because, one, they'll listen to a coach of a winning team.
Yeah. And
two, they're in a playoff scenario. That changes anybody, unless your name's Bradley Beal, because apparently you just get worse then. I don't know. There was at one point, and there probably still is somewhat, but now I'm just lower on it. At one point, I was saying that I would take Zach LaVine, right? But now this giant contract mixed with you're going to pay this guy $50 million a year. Is it something like that? It's something stupid. Yep. $50 million a year to play one side of the ball, maybe. And it's the one thing that'll help him is that Giddey on the team will help him get a lot of like backdoor looks, a lot of open looks. That'll help him. I'm not going to argue that. Yeah. But it's just,
and Lonzo's back too, So again, really good.
Can't play back-to-backs on minute restrictions, so it's going to be. I know, but I'm just saying it's going to be a very slow roll out for Lonzo. We'll see how long he lasts, because, like he said out of his mouth today, nobody's ever come back from this injury.
True.
So
my only question is like, and again, I know that's not the point of these rankings, but like, is there a guy in this section who has a higher top end than Zach LaVine?
You want me to get into my next point?
Genuine question, yeah.
Yes, that person's name is Franz Wagner, and there's no shot that he should not be in the top 10. Him not being in the top 10 is an absolute disgrace. All right? I know I'm supposed to be the host. 10. I know I'm supposed to be the host and be like, yeah, who kicked him out of the top 10 then? Because I had him at 9. Dave?
I think I had him at
I'm looking at
13.
13? Yeah.
Yes. You have him at 13. Ricky had him at 14.
Okay, I did
listen,
14.
Listen. And thank God he ended up... I understand that, and that's why you said top end. That's why I said Franz Wagner, because he after the ankle injury last year, you saw his arc dip a little bit. Yeah. His push wasn't as smooth, but you saw him in the Olympics. He was doing it right. His game looked a little bit back to normal in the Olympics.
Basketball is different than NBA though.
Yes, but I'm just talking about in terms of mechanics and the shots.
He looked like a better
player.
Yeah,
it looked back to what we looked in the first 18 months of his career. Mm-hmm. All I'm gonna say is there is a certain person that is above him that when we get through our 1 through 10. It is a disgrace that he is above him at number 10. It's an absolute disgrace that he's at number 10. Wow. All right. Franz Wagner is a perennial all-star now every single year. He's going to be the number 2 option on a top 5 East team for the next couple of years. Mm-hmm. He is a great defender, not elite, but great. He's a great defender. He can score at all 3 levels, and he has he has the second primary playmaking obligations on his team
Correct.
because his coach, not his coach, his GM refuses to sign a point guard, like an actual point guard. And he still does it and they win games because the whole reliance on their offense is Paolo and Franz.
Yep.
They have to do literally everything. So Franz is out there with 4 people around him. Last year, they had no shooting. So Franz had to create everything with no spacing around him. And when he kicked it out half the time, they missed the shot. And this dude's still putting up efficient 20, 25 point nights. Like Franz Wagner is, I think it was his second or third year last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he is almost an all-star every year. And he can't crack the top 10 in our list because broken back is above him. Like, I'm sorry. It's ridiculous that Franz Wagner is not above this.
If he truly is bouncing all the way back and his 3-point shot comes back to respectable, then that's fine. And like you said, we watched the Magic try to adjust the roster this offseason slightly. You know, they made some good changes as far as adding that spacing. They got KCP in there. Jalen Suggs took a step, we hope. If not to be a facilitator, then just to be a really good shooter, hopefully going forward. So like they are making the right moves in theory. I still agree. I would love a traditional point guard in that system. But I understand options are options, and they didn't want to go that route. So good luck, Franz. And if you hit your threes, you'll be, right back up to the top 10.
Yeah. Ricky, I'll throw it to you. You actually had BI at 11, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
2 questions with him, I guess. One.
Why is he too high?
No, because
I'm just expecting it at this point.
No, it's 2 questions about Brandon Ingram. I'll say one, do you think he's still a Pelican come post deadline?
No.
And 2, what part of his game can he? Because the 3-point volume is clearly not where it needs to be. Do you think that there's a way for him to increase that in the current system? Do you think it's more ball handling duties? Like how does he jump up the list even farther? Basically,
I mean, to me, if he's gonna jump up the list, it's not necessarily like I look at his 3-point shooting and go, oh my god, he needs to be a knockdown sniper from behind the 3-point arc. I just feel like so the Pelicans are going to be interesting this year because obviously bringing in DeJounte Murray, another piece to kind of fit in to the starting lineup. It's like I don't expect his role to be lessened, but I expect his role to be lessened, if that makes sense. Maybe role, that's a bad word, but his numbers to be affected because obviously DeJounte Murray, another mouth to feed. We had the discussion in either the shooting guards or the power forward of how does DeJounte fit in with CJ? Who's going to have the ball in their hands more? It's probably going to be DeJounte, but also BI, somebody who has the ball in his hands. It's just we have 3 ball handlers. Is somebody running the offense? I just he needs to be that dog. And if he has the only way he's moving up this list, if he has an MVP caliber season, where he's top 5 MVP or top 3 MVP, or where it's wow, he finished second in MVP, or if he even won the damn thing. That's the only way he's going to move up in my mind, because the players above him in the top 10, kind of hard to move them. Except for Jake with one player that we already know who he hates.
I don't hate. Hate's a strong word.
I feel like BI is got KD syndrome. He fell in love with the mid range, and everyone's telling him you need to take threes. They're good for you, and he's like, but I love the mid range, and that's where I'm happy at, and that's where I can get my buckets. I can create. I'm just bigger, taller, longer than everybody else out there. So that's his comfort zone, and I know it's not modern basketball, but he's in that weird role where he was being asked to be a creator for them, and he was being asked to be a scorer for them, and then their whole team again. And I get it, positionless basketball sounds great until you have a team that looks like the Pelicans last year, and you're this isn't gonna work. They won a lot of games somehow. Still,
it wasn't pretty.
But yeah, you watch them, and they had role issues down the line, and there's a reason everyone's screaming for Trey Murphy to get this man's job. But at the same time, nobody wants to pay Brandon Ingram, and it's no one wants to pay a guy who can get you 20 points a night efficiently, who can rebound okay, who can facilitate it above average for a wing. He does everything you kind of want, except you're instead of, 3.5 threes a game, if you could take like 7.5, that would be like where we would want you. 8 threes, 9 threes, somewhere in that like just shy of 10, I think is the golden range right now if you're a good shooter, where that's where people expect you to be at. So with I feel like he's so screwed because of the fit and the needs of this team. This year, like even when CJ McCollum takes more threes year over year over year, like he even got the message. Like Brandon Ingram's got to either change his game. Like he's still 27.
Yeah.
Like he's still not that old.
It's funny how you say that he fell in love with the mid-range like KD. KD takes 2 more threes a game than him last year. Almost 3 more threes a game.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like that's because of the Suns. Like they've been trying to and I just feel like he needs a new team. No one wants him and no one wants to pay him because the teams at the bottom want to tank. And I feel like he's going to end up going somewhere on like a makeup deal for like a year. And that's going to be like this awkward thing next year because in free agency, you know, it might be the Nets because they'll just have money. And it's like at some point we can pay somebody something kind of thing. Or maybe it's like a weird one with like the Spurs. I don't know. Like Harrison Barnes was a 1-year deal and you move on and you go get Brandon Ingram because you have money.
Is DeMar a 1-year deal? I can't remember how many years he has on his deal.
I think it's 3. He said DeMar, I think it's 3.
Yeah,
now, the weird one that I was going to say at the deadline, because I think Ingram, honestly, he probably goes to a bottom team either at the deadline or in the playoffs. Because I think the Raptors might be a team because Pirtle would help the Pelicans. Pirtle would help the Pelicans immensely. And BI could slot in with their lineup they currently have. You can play him, Scotty, RJ quickly, and then a center.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You could play those 5. And that's just off the wall off my head. I was I was literally thinking I'm going to mention that I think he probably either gets traded or signs with a lower end team.
Yeah.
But even if he makes it to free agency, Pistons will be there. The Pistons will absolutely be like,
Pistons,
what do you want?
Be there.
That's actually true. Yeah.
You don't shoot threes? Come to us. That's what we want. Another non-spacing wing.
But like, yeah, I don't know. It's so
no,
weird.
it works.
Like,
No,
guys
it works.
With his
though.
talent don't have the same value because it feels like I don't know. Like his defense needs to get better for sure.
Yep.
But it's not. He's not like the worst defender in the league.
No, but he's like the same thing, right? Like if he goes to a contending team, do you not think he would be a better defender?
Probably, yeah.
He has the length to that. He just has
exactly. He can affect shots. You know.
Exactly.
It's just a very strange fit situation with him in New Orleans right now, and we're all just kind of waiting for it to move on to the next step. Also, that man looks high. Like he might be the highest looking player I've ever seen in my life.
It's funny you say that. I have his basketball reference pull up. Just looking at his face, it's like, yep, he looks high.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm gonna group these 3 players together. Dave, we'll go back to you. Just you can pick a player we'll talk about. We'll do our little triangles so we can cross. There's kind of this group of 3 of Jade McDaniels, Lou Dort, and Marcus Smart, where defense.
We like defense.
We like defense. So, I mean, do you see anything that separates one of these 3 from each other? One of these that we talked about Marcus Smart maybe not being a Grizzly next year. Like, there's a lot of stuff to talk about with these 3.
Yeah, I think starting off, like, personally, I like the positional variety, being able to defend multiple spots. Lou Dort and Jaden McDaniels can do that a little bit better than Marcus Smart. Funny I say, because Marcus Smart has a Defense Player of the Year award that was a total sham, and I don't believe in it at all, so he can suck it on that one. It was rigged. We all know it. I like Jaden McDaniels. Yep, thank you. Fingers out there, Ricky. Ricky, can I get a...
Rigged.
I don't know what it was, but it was a rigged award. It was rigged. We contested it. We did. We called on the phone.
Nobody saw a bigger rig job.
Who finished in second that year? I forget.
Oh my god!
I'll look while Dave talks.
Who finished in second?
But I think it just comes down to like I like the fact that Lou Dort and McDaniels can guard up and down the lineup. Like they can switch everywhere out there. McDaniels, I wanted him to be a better player than he is right now. But I go ahead, Jake. You got it.
It was Mikal Bridges.
Yes, it was.
I'm from New York.
Well, he was Phoenix.
Well, he's in New York now. My boy, Mikal
the
Bridges,
greatest city in the world.
The Villanova Hova. Should have won it, my friends. He should have won it.
I love it,
man.
That's gonna come in clutch all year. But yeah, McDaniels was a guy who I loved in college. And I really was blown out of the waters by his effort on defense. He was a guy who came in with the rep of being like, this is an offense only player. Yeah, he's a coach's son, but like he's lazy. He's got some some attitude situation going on that kind of floated around his draft stock, but it was always like he's an absolute baller. So I loved him. The fact that he made his whole reputation defense, that he is a stone cold defender at the 3-4-5 out there. He can switch onto guards and still has the foot speed to keep up with some of them. Like, it's just fantastic. And I think it's a huge part of why the Timberwolves felt comfortable moving forward. Like, hey, we got switchable wings. I think we can afford to lose a cat. It's okay.
Yeah, but for Randall, it's just
I know.
disgrace.
But Lou Dort, again, loved him in college. He was a little bowling ball. It was hilarious watching him just hit like 10 free throws a night. I don't know. He seems like he might be the odd guy out coming up soon. And I know that sounds crazy for OKC, but
you're right.
They threw out some contracts. I think Wiggins had a phenomenal end to last year. He got paid. And I think he might just be a better fit for their system. But Lou Dort is still you just put him on somebody for the night. You just don't even care. He's just a lockdown dude.
The torture chamber, right?
The torture chamber.
Torture chamber.
Torture chamber.
I'm just because when you look at their lineup, right? Shea, Williams, that's what we put him at the 2. I feel so weird saying as a 2. But
I know.
It's Dort, Pet, and iHeart now, right?
Yeah.
And we all expect them kind of to move for somebody at some point. Somebody's going to become available that they're going to go for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is Lou Dort and somebody would have to be the package, right? With 17 million first round picks. Yep. But he seems like the guy. Yeah.
I mean, he's a good player. Limited. He gets red hot every once in a while from 3 and it's hilarious, but it's the most oh God, no. Oh, it went in. And then you just know you're oh no, it went in. That means he's got to take another one. He's got to let it rip for a minute. You get that confidence going in your game. And then Marcus Smart, he's fine.
Yeah. We don't know. He was out for basically the entirety of last season. Yeah. And I don't like to take victory laps and all that, But shout out JD, our fellow MVP member, when they traded Marcus Smart away and got Drew Holiday. JD was mad. JD was real mad, and it's wild how much of a better player Drew Holiday is.
It's
than
almost
Marcus
wild
Smart.
that they might have won the finals because of Drew Holiday.
But he won a Defensive Player of the Year award.
Yeah, the most fraud Defensive Player of the Year I've ever witnessed in my life. It shouldn't have gone to either of them. It should have been Rudy Gobert. It shouldn't have even been Mikal Bridges at number 2. It's just
everybody hates Rudy.
Yeah. No, that's true. We'll get into that in the center ranking. Ricky, last game I'm going to ask you about your boy, one half of the Splash Bros, number 31 on the Dallas Mavericks, Klay Thompson. What are your expectations for him this year? I was going to label him as the guy who could fall the farthest in these rankings if we continue to see more of what we saw last year. Do you expect that? Do you expect an uptick? What do you expect with him on the Dallas Mavericks?
I'm expecting him to play with the scoring champion from last year. To me, not the most improved player, but could be in the argument for most improved in a different sense, Kyrie Irving, because he kind of revitalized not really his career, but his what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
His likeness in many people's eyes. Public image. Likability. Change of scenery, man. That's all it's going to be this year for Klay. Change of scenery. Just ball out. Do what you do. Shoot threes. Play a little bit of defense because, you don't play much of that. You and Kyrie on the side of Luka. That's the main thing. Play some defense.
PJ Washington is just cursing up and down that court.
Dude, you mean nuclear PJ Washington and his 50-some% 3 at a certain point in the playoffs. But yeah,
the reason they went to the finals.
You think there's a nice medium ground for Klay's production this year because he's never going to be what he was, obviously.
Never say never.
But he can't be what he was last year because he was atrocious last year.
I'm not saying he's going to be what he used to be, but he'll be better than last year. But never say never because I think he could surprise us.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think, Dave, do you agree that the number one thing with me for him is his defense needs to come back at least a little bit, not to the elite levels, but it has to come back somewhat.
Yeah, flat out hustle and effort will go a long way on this roster. The amount of clear looks from 3 that he's going to get this year is going to be very interesting to see. The one thing I'm curious though about is he got a lot of his touches in Golden State coming off of screens and handoffs, and I don't think that they run anywhere near that, volume of that in Dallas. So It might be a little bit of a change up for him to be more of a catch and shoot gunner. I'm not sure how relocation happy they're going to have him being, which might be to his benefit as a defender. He's not doing all this off ball action and movement, so maybe he can save a little energy on the defensive side by that. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to use him from that standpoint and get him his looks. But in theory, if you got Luka and Kyrie creating for you, you're probably going to be up a defender, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think a lot of the looks you saw in the playoffs last year of PJ Washington getting at the weak side corner a lot will probably be Klay Thompson now. And if we get 60-70% of Klay, those are going to be money at 40 some percent, right? Those are the shots that he hits. It'll be it'll be interesting because Luka, I think the off ball stuff that you're talking about, we might see that a little bit when Kyrie's on the court. When Luka's on the court, go stand in the corner, bud. Get ready to learn the lyrics to the corner three. All right, you're gonna be standing there.
Either do we know if there's any boats in the Dallas area? Could we get this man?
The real bad part is if he's starting to miss a lot. Those Dallas Maverick rims have the mics on them.
Oh,
so
God.
those bricks are gonna be. Somebody said if he does bad, the video of him in a Dallas Mavericks jersey is gonna rival the Kevin Garnett in a Brooklyn jersey videos. Like those videos are bad. Either of you, any final thoughts on the 11 through 20? Anybody? The only guys we didn't touch much on are DeMar and Chris Middleton, but we'll be talking about them throughout the year. So
DeMar's great, love him. Thank you for your time. Chris Middleton's had all the surgeries in the world, and I can't believe you guys ranked him so high.
He's Chris Middleton. He deserves some respect.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. He shows up when it matters most, Dave.
I mean, he did. Giannis went out. And he was
Clark Kent regular season, Superman postseason.
Brooke Lopez is running out there like Bobby Portis is like in the corner, and then you got Damian Lillard standing off in the corner like, man, I can't wait to be home.
I can't believe I'm in Milwaukee.
Yeah, and then Chris Middleton's out there putting up like 24 a game on really good percentages in the playoffs. It's just
let's see this past playoff run. Yeah,
go see it. You read out the stats, Dave. You read out the Levine ones. Read out those ones.
24. A night. It was 6 games.
Yep.
Wait, 2023, 2024.
That's the season.
That was last year.
Double checking.
Yep. 24.
So 24 a night, 9 boards, and 4.5 assists.
On what?
On 48, 35, 90.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was really good.
I love how we look at both of us and both shaking our eyes wide open going,
It was pretty good, but he just came back from another surgery.
Yeah, but he played
a double surgery.
Zach LaVine tried playing in the playoffs once in his career.
I know, right?
They did. They did, right? And who'd they play in the playoffs that year that Zach LaVine played? And what happened in that series?
It was bad. It was real bad.
It was,
Patrick Williams.
Oh, you won one. You won one.
Oh, that's right. They gentlemen sweeped us.
Yeah, you gentlemen swept you.
We saw peak Patrick Williams that day.
Alrighty, that'll wrap it up on the 11 through 20 list.
That's a lot.
Let's move on to our top 10 in our small forwards. At number 10, we have Mr. Brokenback from the Denver Nuggets, Michael Porter Jr. At number 9, we have from the New York Knicks, OG Anunoby. At number 8, from the Utah Jazz, we have Lauri Markkanen. At number 7, from the Toronto Raptors, we have Scotty Barnes. At number 6, from the Philadelphia 76ers, we have Paul George. At number 5, from still the Miami Heat for now, Jimmy Butler. At number 4, from the LA Clippers, Kawhi Leonard. Number 3, from the Boston Celtics, Jaylen Brown. At number 2, from the Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker. And at number 1, the GOAT, season 22? 21, 22, LeBron James. I think we start from the top.
LeBron James.
Jeez, we start in the top for this one. We all had LeBron number 1.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't even want to say the question like, is this the final year he's at number 1, or are we just until he retires he's up here?
I don't know that anyone's gonna pass him up. The only weird thing is like, because we did these lists the way that like we did them, is he a small forward? Is he a power forward? It's kind of a toss up because they are gonna start with Rui. It looks like next to him, but the talks of Anthony Davis at the 5 never seemed to last that long, so we might see AD back at the 4 and LeBron at the 3. So that's kind of why we landed with him as small forward. If he was a power forward, do you think he'd be number 1 still?
No, he'd be number 2.
Okay, that was my question.
He'd be number 2.
Maybe number 3.
No, he'd be number 2. No spoilers.
No, I'm
So,
saying,
so I
come
wanted
on.
not
Everyone
to-
knows who's in the fight for 1-2 in the power forwards.
I just gotta say though, like, you said about the center thing. He might probably by the end. Clint Capella in the Lakers.
Yes, he would be ranked
watch
number
them
1 in the
because-
centers.
Oh no, not that. No,
LeBron would be number 4 for the centers, maybe.
I think he'd be 3.
Number 4, who'd be 3?
Oh yeah, no, we're not saying that yet. Just hold on. Stop skipping ahead to the other positional rankings.
Well,
Making me lose control.
Here's the fun thing. Okay, let's go the other way. Would LeBron James be the number 3 point guard? 4.
No,
He'd be number 4.
he'd be
Would
4.
he?
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like we're
I
just
don't
talking
know,
about
man. He'd be like,
he'd be
I don't
4
know,
in point
man.
guard. He'd be 4 point guard, 3 shooting guard.
I don't
That's what I
know,
think.
man.
What is the? I don't know.
I don't know. He'd probably be like the lowest 2 on the point guards.
Just so
Probably
where
even
everybody knows, our rankings for point
Yeah.
guards were Luka, Steph, SGA, Brunson, Maxey. Shooting guards: Ant, Mitchell, Kyrie, Mikal Bridges, and Desmond Bain. I think I'd say 4 point guard, 2 shooting guard. Oh, I'd probably say 3 shooting
There's
guard.
only
I'd probably-
one player out of all the ones you named that I would take over LeBron. His name's Steph Curry.
I don't think that we watched the same SGA last year. Like
SGA was good, but SGA LeBron.
No.
Give me
No,
LeBron.
SGA was
Yeah,
great.
give me
was
LeBron
like-
though. Give me
was number 3 on
LeBron.
the MVP.
You gotta take name out of, because this is what you guys did with Steph that I had to
I know.
debunk.
I
in the
know.
point guard
I
list.
watched him.
You have to take the name out of it. All right. SGA is was he a 30-point scorer this year, right?
He was.
Mhm.
Yeah, 30-point scorer while giving you elite defense and play creation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I love LeBron. All right. He's my GOAT. All right. I don't
He
hate
might
anything
be the
about him.
goat.
But okay,
I'm just,
No, I
that's
think
my-
it's kind of
Mm.
I'm trying to go to that point of like
you're wrong.
the fact that he is number 1 or top 5 in every position
at what
That's
age?
not because of him. That's because of the world we live in today.
at year 22.
The world we live in today is different.
You mean like the most talented NBA we've
No,
ever had?
they take care.
Yeah.
Athletes take care of their bodies more than they ever have.
Well, I mean, if you're not,
That's
if you're
what I'm
not
saying.
smoking, if you're not smoking cigars and gambling until 4 a.m. and then
Well,
playing
yeah,
18
it was a
golf,
different time.
right?
That's all I'm saying. Ripping cigs
I'm just
too,
saying.
doing cocaine in the locker room. The Bulls before Michael Jordan.
Well, that'll. Okay,
With
well,
Michael Jordan.
yeah. So,
I
like,
got
I
you.
guess my question is, because I reiterate, Booker and Jaylen Brown are 2-3 in our rankings.
Yeah.
Do you see anybody who has a chance to overtake him this season?
This season?
This season, yeah.
Could.
You think Booker
I know he's
could?
on a loaded team, but I think that I love Jaylen Brown. His game is
Your rank does not show that you love Jaylen Brown.
okay, fair enough.
I'm gonna
Just
say no.
I
Just-
like Jaylen Brown, but I don't think I would say he could get there. I think Booker is probably the only one. Or like if Kawhi Leonard's healthy for a whole season, like
Which he's already not.
but if you had Kawhi Leonard for 75 games this year and you
But
put
he's
up
not-
Kawhi Leonard
Dude,
stats,
Steve, he's already hurt.
I know.
He's already hurt, so he's not playing.
He's never
75
not
games.
hurt. That's
Let's
what I'm saying.
debunk
like,
that one. All right,
Okay.
all the stuff I hear about Embiid should be towards Kawhi. Kawhi hasn't played a healthy playoff run in 3 years. He just doesn't
Yep.
play.
Exactly.
He gets
Preach.
hurt and then he doesn't play.
Preach.
I have Kawhi high because Kawhi is one of the most talented players of the last decade. All right,
Yep.
off of respect, I'm putting him up there. I can't put him below the names below him. I can't out of respect because when he played last year, he was amazing. He was unbelievable when he
But
played
you had
last
to
year.
say when.
who's had a higher peak? Who's had a peak that could rival like
LeBron
LeBron?
and Steph.
Playoff Jimmy Butler?
The
No,
answer,
I legit think that out
Yeah,
of
but
this
no.
playoff Jimmy Butler was the highest performance.
Out of one,
The small forwards. Like
but
his,
like out of
his finals run
no, I'm saying like out of what's the timeline we're looking at here?
last couple of years.
Because his finals run
Miami
was 4
Heat,
years.
Jimmy
ago.
Butler is
years?
what you're saying?
4 years.
Damn.
2020.
No, they had 2.
Oh, you're right. It's 2021. No, it's 2020. Yeah, last year's. Yeah, no. I mean the one where Caleb Martin was going off every other game.
Point being, they had two really good performances from Jimmy Butler in the playoffs where like he was the only guy who could put up numbers kind of at the same level or volume. I don't
Mhm.
think he's gonna be that guy. So that's why I'm like, I don't think he could jump it. I don't know. I genuinely don't see a guy on this list who could jump LeBron James next year.
I was
The
gonna
only
say,
way
right,
LeBron's not number 1 is if he retires.
I was gonna say right because like
There's
you
one.
look at-
There's one guy, and you nailed it, Jake. But there's one caveat.
Yeah.
If I can get 2016, 2017, or 2015, 2016 Kawhi where he's out there for at least 70 games. And yeah,
We're
if
talking
not,
a decade
no.
ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Kawhi's got to play. He's got to play. And I know people are going to say, well, Ricky, you played 68. That's close. But it's like, unless I get the Kawhi that was finishing, top 2, top 3 in the MVP, then no.
But I will say this. I think if we're going from Kawhi's last finals run, right, with the Raptors, I think Kawhi has the 2 highest peaks. Because the Raptors peak and then the conference finals peak where he got hurt against the Jazz, those 2 years, he was untouchable, right? He was the best wing defender in the league.
Okay, I'll say that if we get Toronto, I'll even say
that's not going to happen, though. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
He played 60 games there, which people are going to say, Ricky, you played more games this year.
It's not even about like him playing games. It's just about him being healthy when the playoffs come around.
Yep.
Right? Because every year it's the same. It's the same conversation we'll have in the center section about Embiid, right? It's the same thing. We know how great the player is. Yep. We know how much talent they have. They are hurt currently, and we have them 4th. Right?
4 playoff.
Like, that's how good he is.
4 playoff games in the last 2 years. And 1 second, you said we have him 4th?
Oh, yeah, Ricky, where do you have Kawhi?
I am 6th, almost 7th, because I can't here's my top 5: LeBron, Booker, Brown, Butler, George. I can't have him above any of those guys because he doesn't play. And he doesn't play when it counts in the playoffs. I don't care how good you are. You need to play when it matters. Paul George played when it mattered.
I mean, he played. He was there.
Yeah, he played.
10 games.
He played.
He was 2 games. He was fantastic. But that's 2 more games than Kawhi, I guess.
I'll be honest. I almost put Scotty Barnes and Lowry over him, but I couldn't at the end of the day because it is Kawhi at the end of the day.
But if he had, I'll ask you this, Dave, because that actually is a good point. If he has another injury-riddled season and Lowry continues his upward trajectory and Scotty continues his upward trajectory, I don't think that's that unreasonable thing to say if it continues for another year. Let me say.
I will say Scotty could be in that same territory.
He won't admit Lowry. He won't admit Lowry.
No, I won't. Because guess what? What's Lowry won? Nothing.
So neither is Scotty Barnes.
Right. But Lowry
neither is Devin Booker.
Well, Devin Booker made to a
neither has Jimmy Butler.
None
of these guys have won. That's not winning anything.
That is winning. He won a conference.
Sorry.
Devin
We're not
Booker
doing
won a
that.
Conference then.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. That's not winning anything.
Nobody
goes. Charles Barkley, he won a conference though. He won a conference.
Don't forget about Malone and Stockton.
Well,
they won a lot of conferences.
The less said about those 2.
They won 2 conferences.
They aged poorly. Yeah.
That's why I always say, and again, with the media, the narrative stuff of like you didn't make past the second round. I don't care about making past the second round if you don't win the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I do.
Your goal is to win the finals. All right, and especially if you're going to be this upper echelon of a player, where people put Jimmy Butler. Like I have Jimmy Butler high because he's a great player. Yep. Right, that I'm not arguing about. But the people that they want to put him up there with Kawhi and LeBron and continue talking about, he's not there because he's never won anything.
Yeah, but he's slightly worse Kawhi Leonard.
That's
pretty good.
Can I just?
That's pretty good.
Why in none of our rankings before this, none of the other 2 we've talked about, like, oh, this guy has won something. Magically, it's an issue here.
Like,
it's because LeBron James.
It's because
no one has lost more finals than LeBron James.
Yeah,
it's because we started.
Actually, no, I take that back. I think
Ricky is somewhat right, but we started talking about peaks, and that's why.
Okay.
We diverged from this upcoming season.
I was looking like at the rankings at like why, and I'm like,
yeah.
No, you're right. It doesn't matter about winning what you've won. It's what player you are.
When Dave and I start getting going, it's gonna happen sometimes where we just start talking. But you're right. Okay. Let's retrack ourselves going into this season, not legacy. Let's go into this season. All right. Jimmy Butler, Kawhi Leonard, Jaylen Brown, Devin Booker, LeBron, top 5.
Yeah.
I would say like out of the next 5, I'm going to exclude Michael Porter Jr. because just no shot he's up there. Paul George, Scotty Barnes, Lowry, and OG. Lowry and Scotty, I kind of see on that upward trajectory. Paul George, his numbers are going to come down a bit this year because he's not going to have as much volume as he has in the past. He's not going to have as much usage as he does in the past. So, like, I don't know whether you rate that positively or negatively. You know what I mean? Like, is it their overall play, I guess, here with Paul George, where he's going to be on a contending team again, where Scotty Barnes and Lowry are going to be on teams that are going to be in the lottery most likely, and their numbers are going to be gaudy. It's kind of like that Kuzma conversation we had.
Yep.
Like, do you think how high can they climb? How low will Paul George? You know what I mean? The finish this season.
I would say for me, Paul George, I think playing in the playoffs means more than those guys unless we see like an insane jump. Like Scotty Barnes, for me, like it was always that competition of like Scotty and Franz were like 1A, 1B in that draft class, kind of going back and forth. And I don't know that there's like a massive difference. There was just that shooting drop off from Franz and that shooting explosion from Scotty Barnes. And it was just like, wow, that totally flipped up, in 1 year. And again, it's just 1 year. We'll see what happens. But I think that like I just see the all around game from Scotty. Like he has the versatility to play across the board, to do everything. And that's kind of what that's literally what we're asking from our small forwards. We're asking Devin Booker to do everything. We're asking Jaylen Brown to do everything. Kawhi Leonard to do everything. Jimmy Butler to do everything. Paul George to do everything. That's the theme. And I don't know that Lauri Markkanen is a creator in the same way. And again, I know empty stats right now on a team that doesn't want to win. So Lowry's, I could care less. I think Scotty Barnes has a different it factor because he actually plays really good defense at times. I think his switchability matters. I think he's got the highest top end out of like the guys in this section left, like that 6 through 10 range, by far. And like I would even slide in like Franz Wagner in that same that would be the second guy. MPJ is just probably one of the best. We've got a 6'10" guy who can launch threes like a turret. Like it's just good. He's a really good rebounder. Now that he tries again, like it's great. His back seemingly, knock on wood, is going to be solid again. So I think that his is more respect for like, hey, you had your finals run, you played well, you backed it up, got better the next year still. And we're curious to see if he can take another step as Aaron Gordon kind of falls off as far as scoring. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But I just think that, yeah, for me, I'm looking at Scotty Barnes being the guy who can make the jump. But if Paul George is like a number 2 guy on a finals run,
3.
You say 3, playoffs happen.
Yeah, and who's been the best playoff performer on the Sixers the last 2 years? I'll wait.
James Harden.
It was Tyrese Maxey. Actually, Joel Embiid was great last year, but Tyrese Maxey is
Ricky Council.
He didn't play, but
he's going to ball out this year, though.
Yeah, I love that. If Paul George, I'll say, I don't want to like extend the Sixers talk because I know I have a tendency to do that, but like he's going to be the third guy and asked to connect with Embiid and Maxey in lineups, right? He's going to have some ball handling duty, but not a ton. His defense isn't as great as it used to be. I think Clipper fans overrate the drop off, and I think Sixers fans underrate the drop off. You know what I mean? I think there's a nice middle ground where he can guard the second or third option okay and play passing lanes really well. That's probably what we're going to look at with him, right? He's not going to be your guy in OKC where he was literally just strapping everybody up before turning the ball over. I agree with you. I love Scotty Barnes. I think he's absolutely fantastic. Ricky, I'll touch to you because I believe you were the person who had MPJ the highest. No, actually, Dave had MPJ at 7. You had him at 10. I had him at 15. So I guess what is your outlook on MPJ this year? Another healthy year. What do you expect? I would assume you're probably gonna say more of the same, but is there anything different? That
consistency. It's all like with him again too. You mentioned like you're talking about the back problems, and of course, like the 2021-2022 year was the year where he only played 9 games and was out for most of it. But like, he's someone that like, yes, he's a starter, but like he's on such a good team with such a great facilitator, not at the point guard position, that it's like it's not even a knock to him. Just sometimes stand in the corner and just wait for Jokic to get you the ball. Just knock it down. It's literally the bare minimum he has to do.
And you got to remember, I mean, the playoff run last year, he murked the Lakers. Like they absolutely had
made a lot of money off MPJ last year in the playoffs.
And then unfortunately, Minnesota clammed him the.
Yeah, then I stopped making money off of him.
If you want to believe that Minnesota was just built single-handedly to destroy Denver's day, they were. And then they did.
And then what did they do? They traded away the recipe to stopping Denver because
Denver's no longer the problem.
No, because their owner didn't sell, and now they have to cut salary long term.
I think they might be thinking there's a bigger dog in the house.
OKC, yeah, but Julius Randle doesn't help you with OKC.
I don't think Cat helps with OKC either.
Yeah, but that's what my point is. I don't think either
Yep.
of them do. I think the two people that we didn't touch on that we probably should is we didn't talk about Devin Booker and Jaylen Brown too much. I'll ask you, Ricky. Jaylen Brown coming off of a Finals MVP, coming off of the Finals, the playoff run where he was the best performing Celtic. Like, do you think that transitions to the regular season now? Because Tatum's always kind of been, the guy, quote unquote. Do you think that? Do you think that Jaylen Brown can now overtake that? I guess.
What, the number one moniker on the Celtics?
Like, he is the Celtics guy. Like, if you look at the
Yeah,
Celtics, you don't think
of
Jason Tatum, you think Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, of course. And the reason why I say that is Jason Tatum, to me, it's like he's good, but I don't know. I kind of personally, I like Brown better. And I think it comes with all the, like, Tatum's good, but you got a lot of clownish stuff, a lot of cringy stuff that goes on with Jason Tatum, that it's going to be like, you know what? He's the number 2. Brown, you can be the number 1. You're the one that the fans like more.
He's going to start texting Kobe.
Yeah, that was only the beginning of it. Then he tried to beat Kevin Garnett, which he's not.
Oh, man.
Jason Tatum feels like he's trying to make a Hallmark movie out of his life. And
so good.
Don't people usually get beat?
We'll talk about him next segment, so try to keep it centered on Jaylen Brown. Like, what does he
don't
need to
people
do
get like horrifically beat up in those movies? Hallmark movies?
That's every movie.
Overcoming adversity. What are you talking about?
Anything is possible with the super team.
Jaylen Brown is gonna have that fight in him because he didn't make the Olympic team.
Dog in him.
I remember even during the playoffs last year, we always joked about, Jaylen Brown is the better, player, and like I forget what it was because there was something going around and he's not the right one or something but it was always just he showed up when they needed him, and Jason Tatum he's very good. He's very good, but he does different things for the team. I think that's the crazy thing is their roles have evolved so much over the years, and like that's again same with Devin Booker. Like his role has evolved so much. He went from being, a score-only chucker on one of the worst Suns teams in purgatory to being a point guard to then transitioning, like learning from Chris Paul and kind of moving over even further. Now we've got like him as a part-time point guard, but also he has to manage like Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal and somehow make that team work. It's just he is in a very challenging role, but he is so good. And I think the Suns' success, if they're anywhere close to healthy, that team's going to cruise.
Yeah, agreed. I'll ask you guys, anything you want to touch on 1 through 10 that we have not talked about yet?
Lauri Markkanen's fraud.
One last point I want to say opposite of that is we're talking about the Kawhi stuff. If Lowry has a year like he had, not last year, but the year before, just a little bit better, there's a possibility he's ranked above Kawhi next year.
Yeah, I think my hot take would be that Franz can jump into the top 5 next year.
Top 5, not even top 10?
Top 5. He should be already. In my mind, he already his top 10. I'm just saying that Franz can jump into the top 5 if he hits his real stride.
But Jake, these are cumulative rankings, bruh.
That's why I'm saying my
Will he be cumulatively in the top 10 next year?
Hashtag not my top 10. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that Franz I think definitely could be top 5 next year. It's at top echelon. But yeah, I think besides Dave saying that Lowry's a fraud, I think that was a pretty good episode of a small forward ranking.
Clown on Zach LaVine for his empty stats. Let's talk about some emptier stats.
Yeah, I'm sure throughout the season we will talk about the Jazz because they are, big contending team there.
55 games last year.
Can only play the year before. Where you're on, Dave.
But I'm just saying, if we got a guy who doesn't play all his games, you're making fun of Kawhi Leonard. He played 55 games last year. Played 66 games the year before.
Last year, but yeah. With Kawhi, the problem is the playoffs.
No, I'm saying Lowry. Those were Lowry's.
Okay.
Lowry. Game counts.
Yeah.
So, mirror.
Yeah, Lowry's just a better player, though.
Yeah.
But is he?
He just is. Yeah. And I know you won't admit it because you traded him. Just like you won't.
No, players get better when they leave us. Don't get me wrong.
Just like you won't give up on Patrick Williams, which we will discuss in our power forward rankings. That's what will be coming out on Thursday after this video drops on Tuesday.
Don't give up on him. Yeah, that's top 10. How are they going to? Of course.
Once again, down below in the
Spoilers.
description, the Patreon down below. You can watch these recordings live. We'll be doing some additional content as the season rolls on as well. Discord is also down below. Join free community. The NBA season is starting under 3 weeks now. By the time this episode goes up, it'll be like a week and 3/4 or 2 weeks, basically, until the season starts. So we're closing in on the NBA season. Again, if you've watched all the way through, please consider leaving a like down below, hitting that subscribe button, hitting that bell so you get notified, or like Ricky said one time, notificated whenever we
the notifications, dude. I get those notifications.
Whenever we go live, which will be happening when we get into draft season and stuff, that Dave and I get bored, that'll probably be happening. And then, also with our NBA content, there, assume we'll be doing some live content with our NBA shows. So please, again, join the community down below. Leave a comment, and whether it's positive or negative, whether you think we're smart or stupid, doesn't matter. Because we take all feedback in. But we do appreciate you if you made it this far through the video. We ramble on a lot. So check out already posted our point guard and shooting guard videos. Power forward will be going up later this week, and then the following week you'll have our team predictions along with our actual seasonal predictions. So again, leave everything down below. Leave a comment, please, and we will see you in the next video.
As always, we'd like to thank the people that make these videos possible, our patrons whose names are displayed on the screen now. If you would like to become a patron, go ahead and click the Patreon icon in the bottom right. And if you'd like to check out another video from MVP Sports, hit the video in the upper left. As always, thanks for watching.